Unmop it. Welcome to another morning meditation. We're going to return to the alternate nostril breathing, nadi sodhana, this morning, because I think it's really helpful to spend a bit of time with these practices, not to jump in and out, hi Kathy, from one thing to another. At least that's what I find. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it again. If you sit and meditate or sit and just watch your breathing, you may become aware, if you don't do anything about, if you don't particularly focus on a breathing practice like this, you may start to become aware that the breath comes slightly more strongly through one nostril or the other. Maybe one feels a little physically blocked, maybe it's something more subtle than that. But it's quite normal that actually we don't breathe evenly through the two nostrils. So this practice, as well as giving us an awareness of what's involved when we breathe through one or the other, also helps to bring us back to balance, to breathing through both nostrils at the same time, to the same amount. And that brings balance in so many areas of our lives. As I've mentioned before, it's very much connected with the two sides of the body, the two sides of the brain. So our left brain, which controls the right side of our body, which is our thinking, analytical brain, and our right brain, which is the more emotional, emotive, intuitive, feeling brain, that controls those functions and controls the left side of the body. So as we alternate from one side to the other, focus on one side, focus on the other, and then move into this process of alternating between the two, it helps to bring the two sides into balance. It also has an effect on the organs. It's believed to help the intestines, the whole internal organs to function more efficiently. So it's a wonderful practice for everybody. And as I've mentioned before, it is quite widespread to do this using the fingers of one hand to block each nostril. This is a subtler way of doing it. We are working with the body, listening to the body, allowing the body to find its own way into this two-sided balance, as opposed to telling it what it needs, we think it should be doing. And it also, as well as the two physical sides of the body, the two sides of the brain, it connects the masculine and feminine energies that move through our bodies, which are also connected with these two, left side, right side. And on a deeper level as well, it creates a balance between what are known in yogic terms as the annamaya kosha and the pranamaya kosha. So the annamaya kosha is the physical body. The pranamaya kosha is the subtle body, the breath. Prana is breath or life force. And so again, we're connecting very consciously with the physical body and the breath and balancing those two things together. So on many, many levels, it's a really lovely practice. And it's a practice that is believed to, some people find can help with headaches, can help with general feelings of unrest or being unsettled. And I think it can also be really helpful at this time when so many of us are feeling so tired. A lot of people I talk to say they're feeling tired all the time, and it's usually followed by, I don't understand why, I'm not doing anything. And there is so much going on at the moment. Most of us are in one way or another living in a level of low level anxiety, which is exhausting in itself. So we are if we're not careful to work with this, we are constantly living in a state of arousal, of alertness, of where is the next danger coming from, because that's what our bodies are trained to do when we're anxious. That's what anxiety is. And at the same time, that's coming from inside each of us, but at the same time, we're also creating that energy of anxiety, of discomfort around ourselves, sending that energy out. And whether or not we're aware of this, some people are highly aware of picking up on other people's energies, other people are completely oblivious to it. I fall somewhere in the middle. But whether or not we're aware of it, this energy, I believe, is circulating all over the place, not just from our home, our town, our local environment, our country, but globally, planet-wide. It's a long time since, if ever, that there's been this degree, or since, this is probably the connection back to world wars, for there to be this many people on the planet, or this proportion of people on the planet who are in fear, in anxiety. And of course, it's exacerbated in this situation because we know about everybody else. We read about it on Facebook and all the rest of it. So it's inevitable, whether you think of it as picking up on energy fields, or whether you think of it as reading and watching too much news and fake news and whatever else, it is inevitable that we are all feeding into each other's anxieties and fears. So this process, any meditative process, any form of yoga, anything that brings you back into the body will help. But this, I believe, is a particularly helpful practice at this time. Anyway, that's more than enough conversation. So if you haven't already done so, please come into your body, feel the connection into your feet. Let your eyes close gently if they haven't already done so. And feel the breath coming through your body. Let your hands rest palm up on your thighs or knees in a relaxed, comfortable posture. Keeping your spine erect as far as possible, with that support coming from the feet and the sitting bones, so that your spine can lift and release a little in its own time and its own space. And then just for a couple of breaths, open your hands, not in a straining way, but as if the centre of the palm was blossoming like a flower opening up to the sunshine. And notice what effect, if any, that has on the way your breath moves through your body. And then gently let the fingers of each hand touch the tip of the thumb on that hand. So all 5 fingertips, thumb tips come together, creating a blossom shape, a bud, maybe a lotus flower, maybe a tulip, whatever comes to mind for you. And again, watch your breath moving through your body and notice how, if it changes. Your hands are in that posture, that mudra. And when you're ready, at the top of an inhalation, you can release the fingers of the left hand as you exhale and inhale. And you can either keep the left hand open for a few breaths, or you can move straight into alternating from one hand to the other, if you feel comfortable with that. If you're keeping the fingers of the left hand open, simply watch the breath coming and going through the left side of your body for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, at the top of an inhalation, bring the fingertips of the left hand together again. And release the right hand, exhaling through the right side of the body. And again, if you're doing it one hand at a time to start with, simply let a few breaths flow through the right side of the body until you feel you've done that for about the same length of time as you did for the left hand. And When the time feels right for you, at the top of an inhalation, bring the fingertips of the right hand together. So for a moment, all the fingertips are joined. And exhale, releasing the left hand. Inhale. Pause, bring the fingertips of the left hand together, release the right hand. Exhale. Inhale. Connect the fingers, release the left as you exhale. And allow this alternating breath to continue for as long as feels comfortable for you. If at any point you're struggling to remember what to do, or the breath itself feels like a strain, then simply release your hands and let them rest. And if you want to start again in a few breaths, then do, but if not, just sit with the breath as is. But if you're finding your feet slipping into an easy rhythm of the movements of the hand, the movement of the breath, then simply watch your breath. Be present with it as it moves all the way through each side of your body in turn. Be aware of it in the nostril, filling the side of the body right out to the tips of the toes and the tips of the fingers. And sit with this for as long as feels right for you. Until consciously or without noticing, you return to your own easy, gentle breath. And when you're ready, at the end of a right-sided breath, bring the fingertips together and release them both. It doesn't matter if you didn't do it on that right-sided breath. But if you remember, if you start with the left, it's good to end with the right. And release your hands. Let the palms lie naturally open. Check in with your feet, with your sitting bones. Give your spine a little more support if you need to. Check your face, relax your jaw, relax your tongue. And notice how the breath is moving through your body now, with both palms resting, naturally open. And if you feel at any point that you want to bring the hands together to rest one inside the other, if that brings a sense of completion, then do so. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May be able to hear the dog having a drink. So from Muffet and me, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.